Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money, with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 347 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with a new friend of mine, Cary Jack. And boy, I just immediately, when I learned about this guy, felt that he was a kindred spirit. He was, or he still is. I mean, he's kind of reminds me of a younger me because he's a free spirit. He's a model, and I was a model in the early days doing commercials and stuff. The only difference is he was with Wilhelmina Agency and I was with nobody. my pitiful career. He's in the martial arts. Everybody knows that I've been living that my whole life. And you know what? Both of our resumes look like we're jacks of all trades. And it looks like BS. But I got to tell you, folks, when you build a lifestyle business like this guy has, you can live 2 or 3 lives in the time that you were screwing. You know, we screwed the commute mostly our whole lives. And he's a lot younger than me, but he got started earlier, and that is wonderful. So he's doing great things for the world, which we'll talk to you about in a minute. All right, how'd you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show's helped you out at all in your business or given you ideas to help you start a business, we want to hear about it. Visit screwthecommute.com and look for a little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail. Click on it, talk into your phone or computer, tell me how the show's helped you. And hey, don't forget to put your website on there so we can give you a big shout out in front of thousands of people on a future episode of Screw the Commute. Now, make sure you grab a copy of my automation ebook. This ebook, just one of the tips, folks, has saved me 7.5 million keystrokes. We actually figured it out a couple years ago. And it's helped me handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 40,000 customers over a long time. And we sell this book for $27, but it's yours free for listening to the show. So grab it at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. While you're at it, grab a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And we've got instructions. You know, some people give you an app and you have to try to figure it out. Well, we give you video and screen capture instructions so you can take us with you on the road and do all kinds of cool stuff. Now, everybody's still freaking out because of this pandemic. Well, I'm not, and my students aren't, because we know how to sell online. Now, I formalized this training over 20 years ago in my mentor program, and 12 years ago, I went through 3 years of hell getting the license for the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country, imtcva.org. But you don't have to live in Virginia to go here. It's a distance learning school, and it's real distance training, not like the stuff they're trying to shove down little kids' throats now just because of this pandemic. And we got people making money after the first month in the school. So I'll tell you a little bit later how you can get a full scholarship to the school if you're in my mentor program. So check that out at imtcva.org. All right, let's get to the main event. Cary Jack, I'm not sure if that's his stage name or not, we'll find that out in a minute, is a lifestyle entrepreneur. And he really is. He's an author, a podcast host, professional actor and model. He's a biohacker. I'm not exactly sure what that is either. We'll talk about that. He's an eco-warrior, which I can relate to that. A martial artist, I can relate to that. And a humanitarian, striving to make, I don't know if I can relate to that or not. I don't know. We'll have to see if he thinks I'm a humanitarian. Striving to make a positive impact on this planet. As the founder of The Happy Hustle, I love that, his mission is to educate, inspire, and entertain while reminding you to enjoy the journey, not just the destination, as you happy hustle for a life of passion and purpose. Cary, are you ready to screw The Commute.
I am I am ready to screw. Always the commute.
Man, I'm so glad that we got to meet each other. I think you heard me on Entrepreneur on Fire or something, and we got
Yep.
together and I just really, as soon as I started reading about you, I thought, man, this guy is a younger me, only better. So tell tell everybody what you're doing now. That might take up the whole show, and then we'll take you back and see how you came up through the ranks.
Hey, well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you, Tom, for having me on and your wonderful audience. I loved your show. And, I'm a big fan of screwing the commute and just creating a life that you love and that we all loved. And for me right now, I'm up to just happy hustling, a life of passion and purpose and positive impact. And I do that in a multitude of ways, but mainly now through the happy hustle. And my podcast, the Happy Hustle Podcast.
Yeah, and the thing is you don't live in a metropolitan area, right? You live in Bozeman, Montana, so you can do this from just about anywhere, right?
Yeah, right. You are. I mean, I've lived all over the world. I used to live in Bangkok, Thailand. I lived in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I lived in Barcelona, Spain, and every major city pretty much in the United States. And, I realized after splitting time growing up, half in Red Lodge, Montana, and half in Sarasota, Florida, that Montana is just my favorite place in the world. And especially being an outdoorsman, it was a pretty simple choice when I got to the age to choose. So here I am.
Yeah, there you go. Now, a guy as good looking as you in Rio, did you have to wear chapstick all the time? Because I heard all the girls just kiss you just all day long.
Well, I don't know about chapstick. I definitely had some fun down there. I was actually working with the company in the 2014 Brazil World Cup down there. I got my dream job, and it was a good time to say the least. However, I will say in Thailand, you got to wear a lot more chapstick to avoid the lady boys.
You got to wear chapstick on your
present.
whole body there. I was there. I spoke there twice, and yeah. You got to learn about. I got a picture here of me with like a whole bunch of gorgeous people, and half of them you'd think they're all girls, half of them were boys.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a thing there.
Yeah, and you're a good looking guy, but you're not just a pretty face. There's a lot. There's so much depth to this guy, folks. Tell us about biohacking. What does that mean exactly?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, Tom, there's a lot of Photoshop involved, so I appreciate the compliments, but yeah, a lot of Photoshop. So anyway, yeah, in terms of biohacking is the use of ancient wisdom and modern science for total human optimization. And I was VP of a biohacking company, quite prominent one for 3 years, and still on the side as more so, I created my own schedule and whatnot. However, I really am into just optimizing my human potential, my cognitive ability, my performance physically and mentally. And then my mom is an OG biohacker. She's a chiropractor and functional medicine nutritionist. So I grew up, very natural, holistic, and I just appreciate, utilizing this ancient wisdom and modern science to really push my boundaries.
Now, I know that you are a hunter and you've got a freezer full of elk right now, but you also have a meatless Monday. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, the best way to truly be sustainable is to hunt and fish your own food and ethically do so. So I try to do that as much as possible. However, in order to decrease carbon emissions, if we all just had a meatless Monday and avoided, the consumer traditional factory farms that produce our meats and, opt for more greens on a Monday, it could really help with the environment. And I'm a big proponent of helping Pachamama, Mother Earth.
Yeah, I am too. I just can't see a lot of the general population becoming hunters. So how can they participate in this? Meatless Monday's one way, but how can they participate this if they are meat eaters but they're not hunters? What's the best way to look for sustainable and ethically grown and harvested meat?
Well, I would just say do your research. Vote with your dollar. As a eco conscious consumer, you can really make an impact by supporting companies that are actually ethically sourcing their foods and really making a positive global impact. Decreasing carbon emissions. You can opt for reusable shopping bags and
Mm-hmm.
water bottles instead of using plastic. You can
Right.
do reusable cutlery and straws, through my company, Sustainable Breakthroughs. My brother's the CEO and I'm the co-founder. And we have this just stainless steel spork and straw combo set, and we call them an eco pack. But those are a simple way to just decrease almost 1,100 plastic straws and 250 plastic utensils each year, because that's
Per
the average
person,
of
yeah.
what we use per person. So think of, when you're going out to a restaurant or a fast food joint and they give you, they pack in all the plastic. Well, that ends up in the landfill. And sadly, plastic has a 600-year lifespan and it doesn't deteriorate easy. So making simple choices, voting with your dollar are just a couple of the ways that you can really support the environment.
Yeah, and I grew up this way too. I grew up very frugal with a dad that came from Syria on a cattle boat when he was 3 years old, had pretty much nothing. And
Wow.
and so I remember to this day, I can't let the water run while I brush my teeth because I hear my dad say, "You're wasting water. You're wasting things. Don't do that."
Yep.
And we used to have to go buy used lumber and take the nails out, straighten them out, and use them again. That's the kind of thing I grew up with. And still to this day, people make fun of me because I can buy whatever I want, but I still do the same things. In fact, we just jackhammered. You'll love this. We just, first of all, a jackhammer, somebody at my age should be shot if they ever rent another jackhammer. So it just beat me to death for Saturday and Sunday. So we had this piece of driveway that the tree roots were raising up and making it dangerous and cracks and everything. So I jackhammered the whole thing. And so I got all these big chunks of concrete. And so my buddy says, "Oh, well, you just pay somebody to haul them away and then pay somebody to haul gravel back." And I'm like, "Are you crazy? What?
Jeez.
I'm going to break this up and make gravel out of it." They're like making fun of me. And then I found a thing called a gabion. I don't know if you ever heard of what that is, but it's just it's a metal box. It's not really a box. It's like a metal fencing that you fill it full of rocks and make stuff out of it, like tables and stuff, outdoor stuff. And so I said, "Well, that's perfect. Whatever I can't, break up into gravel, I'll make tables and stuff and a fire pit and everything out of this. And there'll be no expense. There'll be no landfill involved, nothing." So that's the way I think. And like I said, people make fun of me all the time, but I doubt if you would because you sound like the same kind of guy.
No, I'd rather, fix it than buy new. So that's just, it's kind of a lost art in my generation. However, it's important, we gotta take care of our resources and take care of our planet, especially for the younger generations to come.
Absolutely. Now, how'd you get into modeling? I mean, did you just get discovered or what? Because that's how I got into it. I was taking a girlfriend of mine is doing a Hanes pantyhose commercial, and and I'm sitting there, and some guy didn't show up, and I'm just sitting there waiting for her, and they said, "Hey, you got dark hair and blue eyes, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, why?" I'm like, "What? What do you care?" And he says, "Well, somebody didn't show up. Come here." And that's how my modeling career started. But how did yours start?
Well, it started with a scam agency.
Ah,
Unfortunately, there's a bunch of those out
yeah,
there in the entertainment industry
yeah.
world. And I was about 16 and paid $500 for a comp card
Mm-hmm.
to this fake agent. And it was unfortunately, they were just in the business of signing up aspiring talent instead of actually representing them. And I learned the hard way. And then in college, I submitted for a Crocs campaign that I found on Craigslist, and the listing said, looking for great, strong male legs. And I played college soccer, so I figured, I probably got a shot at this. So I left my English class early, snapped some pics of my calves flexing in the men's bathroom, and that was awkward when
If
my
somebody walked in
classmate
on that,
walked
that
in.
would be
Oh,
something.
they did. They definitely did, and it was super awkward. But nonetheless, I ended up booking the job, and I was smiling and profiling in some of Croc's finest plastic clogs later that week. And, I was super proud. Yeah, my first real gig. And I got the catalog, a couple weeks later after it came out, and I'm scavenging it for my face. And here we are, no face anywhere. And it was only calves, and I wasn't in it anywhere. It was just my hairy legs. And that was my first claim to fame. And then it kind of took off from there. Went to Barcelona, got, just discovered kind of at a party over there in Spain, and shot at the fanciest of hotels, the Grand Hotel, later that week. And that kind of started building my portfolio. And, from there I booked a couple magazine covers. They used those photos actually they sold them to a gay magazine, which I didn't know. So I was the cover of a gay mag in Spain. I was walking the street and saw my picture on a magazine. That was awkward as well. And then, just kept doing it. I did 3.5 years of Second City Improv in Chicago.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty prominent comedy
Right.
school. I don't know if you're familiar with like Steve Carell and
Yeah.
Tina Fey and John Candy, Jim Belushi, Will Ferrell. They all trained at this school. So I trained there and got into commercial acting and modeling in Chicago, and then New York and LA, and, Thailand and Brazil. And so I just had a role audition for the series Yellowstone. So we'll see if I get that. And I booked another movie coming next month here in Montana. So it's fun part-time gig just to do, on the side and make some money and meet cool people in the process.
Well, what's ironic is all those Crocs are in landfills right now, probably.
Right, you are. That is true.
Yeah.
Although they do have a pretty good shelf life. Those things last.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They'll last 600 years.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I actually had a similar thing as I was a hand model for a national TV commercial, and it was for Father's Day. This electric drill, they were saying. I mean, first of all, I didn't know what I was doing, so they said go to makeup, and I'm saying I'm just here for my hands. They said go to makeup, and so they made me put makeup on my hands. And then this drill was the worst piece of crap ever. It took hundreds of takes to get this thing to not strip out the screw that they were showing. So, and then I did this, I was a bartender at this commercial where I had to make the beer just come right up to the edge of the glass and just come over. 163 takes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun anyway. The poor guy up in the ceiling on the camera didn't think it was much fun, but
right. I bet.
Yeah. So you're really living a lifestyle business. You could do this from anywhere, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
How's the flights out of Bozeman, Montana, though? They just laid off loads of, 20,000 airline workers.
Yeah. It's an international airport here in Bozeman, and we also have Billings. I mean, they were a little pricier as flight goes, just because it's pretty remote, but still not too far away to hop on a plane and go anywhere in the world. And, fortunately I set myself up where I don't need to go anywhere. And I can go fly fishing and, be out here in the woods, camping and hiking and just enjoying the good life. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. So tell them about the Happy Hustle. It's a podcast, and you also have some stuff you can help people with, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's face it. I'm sure we've all been to a place of near burnout or burnout in some capacity. And I was no different. I was hustling real hard, but not happy. Actually living in New York City with my brother on my fourth startup. this was a tech company, and I was grinding so hard to get this 7-figure funding deal for our tech startup. And, we were meeting with Microsoft and IBM and all these really prominent venture capitalists. And we ended up getting all the way to the finish line, 6 months of just 100-hour plus weeks. And we got to the end where it was time to ink the 7-figure deal. And I just couldn't do it because it came with this 5-year clause of being beholden to the business. I mean, obviously, if they're going to give 7 figures, they want to know you're going to be invested. So I realized that I couldn't do it. And my brother and I, we had a heart to heart, and we cried, and, we were like, we just can't take the money. So I moved to Bangkok, Thailand soon after, lived there 10 months. And my brother got his master's degree from the University of Florida. And we just opted for a different life, and one, full of happy hustling. And that's kind of where I came up with just this concept of actually enjoying the journey and not just the destination. And I see a lot of my fellow entrepreneurs and business colleagues grinding so hard, sacrificing everything, sacrificing everything for money, relationships, spirituality, passionate hobbies, family, health, everything. For what? For money and for the grind. And so I knew there had to be a better way. So I kind of set out to create a life of blissful balance. And that's where the happy hustle came from. Now I try to support these entrepreneurs, my people, the fellow screw the commuters out there, who want a life of blissful balance, but also want to make an impact and live with purpose and passion. So, I created the Happy Hustle podcast, where I interview people like yourself. I know you're coming on next week. I can't wait. And, share your story. I share, really inspiring, successful stories of entrepreneurs and, spiritual gurus and professional athletes and really cool people who are just happy hustling, who are legit balanced in all areas of their life. And for me, it's the holistic approach. So I created this, this business around happy hustling. And, I wrote a book about it. It's coming out later this year. I currently have an ebook out, which I want to give away to your audience for free. If they go to caryjack.com, they can sign in and get a really what I think is just the happy hustling Bible. I break it down into 10 alignments of being a happy hustler. And then I also have a course that is just step by step. I make it dirt cheap because I rather the content be received and the barriers to entry low. So I make it legit $1 a day. It's $11. You can get it at thehappyhustle.com. And obviously the podcast is free. You can hear Tom and other rock star entrepreneurs and happy hustlers out there. So super stoked to just continue on with this mission right now, Tom.
Beautiful. And folks, it's Cary Jack, is CaryJack.com. And of course, this will be in the show notes, and thehappyhustle.com. So it's Cary, Cary Jack, Jack.com, and thehappyhustle.com. All right, so we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we're going to ask Cary. I'm almost afraid to ask him what a typical day looks like, because I know it doesn't fly with people like us that much, but we'll give it a shot and see how he stays motivated. So folks, about 20 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing world on its head. Guys like me were charging $50,000 or $100,000 up front for small businesses to teach them what we knew. And I thought, you know what? I know a lot of these guys. They'd be hiding out in Bangkok if you give them $50,000 because they wouldn't do anything for you if you gave it to them up front. So I said, that's too risky for small business. I can't help as many people that way. So I'm going to tie my success to their success. So I kind of turned the world on its head and charged an entry fee. But then for me to get my $50,000, you had to make $200,000. Well, guess what? People love this. They knew I wouldn't disappear on them. And here I am 20 some years later, still going strong. It's a program I call it the most unique and most successful in its field ever, because you actually spend an immersion weekend where you stay in my big estate home with me for an immersion weekend. Everything is one-on-one. There is no group stuff here other than the trip to the retreat center. It's about 4 or 5 people. And, because when it's not one-on-one, you're always going to have the advanced people bored and the beginner people lost. And so I just hate that. I can't get the efficiency out of the thing and get people where they want to go fast. So I make it one-on-one with myself and my entire staff. We have a TV studio here where we shoot tons of videos for you, edit them, give you all your marketing videos. So it's very, very unique, and it's no lawsuits, no refunds. People just, we take care of people. And I grew up from a small town, and that's the way we roll. So check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And if you're in my mentor program, you get a scholarship to my school, which one guy gifted it to his daughter, and she's up to $6,000 a month as a side hustle after only 4 months. So it's very, very powerful techniques that you learn that are in high demand. We're not teaching you how to protest and then you're competing for jobs at Starbucks like a typical university. So check it out, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's get back to the main event. We've got Cary Jack here. He's just a perfect walking example of a lifestyle entrepreneur, humanitarian, martial artist, actor, model. So he's living the life. So Cary, what's a typical day look like for you?
Well, obviously, as a lifestyle entrepreneur, it varies, but truthfully, it starts with my morning routine, which is pretty much the same every day. I think you win the day in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually get up, I put down my greens powder, apple cider vinegar, lemon, fresh organic squeezed lemon.
How early do you
trace
get up?
salt. Usually 6:30.
6:30 or so? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sometimes I get up a little earlier. I try not to be a hero. I appreciate my sleep, So yeah, sometimes depends what I got going on. If I'm busy day, sometimes 5:30, but yeah, 6:30 is usually pretty standard. Then I put down that, organic good greens drink, kickstart my day.
Do you have a recipe for this somewhere?
Yeah. And actually I just posted it on my Instagram, Cary__Jack. So yeah, we can get that in the show notes too.
Okay, great.
But this really helps with digestion and boost energy production.
Did your mother help you with this, or did you learn it on your own?
Well, actually, through the Biohacking company, we were coaching Olympic gold medalists and Fortune 500 CEOs and the top of the top. So, we learned a lot in the process, but also my business partner was an expert in all things biohacking and stem cells and, peptides and you name it. We were on the cutting edge. So I learned a lot through that process as well. So after I put down that greens drink, then usually I'll do my mantra. I have a mantra that I repeat in the morning and at night of, just my affirmations, things that I know are important to me. I am the world's greatest happy hustler. I am an 8-figure lifestyle entrepreneur. I am a New York Times bestselling author. I go through my list on usually the rebounder. I have a mini trampoline to shake out the lymphatic system. And it really helps stimulate cellular regeneration. So I get out there, I'll ground myself in the grass. I do inverted sun gazing, looking up 45 degrees off from the sun to help boost my the photosynthesis for plants is the same for people, and our skin is our largest organ. So it's important to look up at the sun and absorb those nutrients, as well as it's really good for your eyes to actually look off of the sun at the hours from 6 to 10 a.m.
That's the gold. It's a little later than the golden hour, I guess.
Yeah, a little before it. And then, also in the evening time, it's good too. But we've actually had clients decrease their eye prescription and actually not even need glasses anymore from sun gazing. So you want to look at the science behind it, but the sun is so powerful. And unfortunately, we're living like zoo animals in our offices and cars all day and homes. And we got this fake light, so it's important to decrease your exposure to toxic blue light and increase your exposure to the sun. So I focus on that.
Isn't that vitamin D thing too?
Yep, exactly. Vitamin D is essential, and a lot of us are lacking it, and it actually boosts immune health and helps combat the coronavirus. So there's a lot of benefit. But I really, then I'll do my empty stomach supplements. I have a routine. I put down my supplements, and then I have usually some type of flow that I'll do just to stretch. Stretching every day can add 7 years to your life. So get on that stretch and touch them toes, baby. So
Well, when did you
it's
let the dog
important.
out? I mean, isn't the dog like
Oh,
ready to pee at
oh,
this point?
oh yeah, it comes out with me when I do my sun gazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we got a Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd mix like you.
Yeah.
We do bite work training. I got a pit bull as well, so I love those two. And yeah, my fiance and I get out there and we get after it in the sun in the morning, and then usually I'll sit down and I'll do my journaling. I have a journal, attitude of gratitude. I start with I just list 5 to 10 things that come to mind that I'm super grateful for. Big proponent of gratitude, and then I'll get into my to dominate list, things that I'm going to dominate for the day. I'll write those out, and then I read thegreatday.com, which is a pretty awesome resource. If your audience hasn't heard of it, greatday.com, a guy named Ralph Martson, he drops knowledge bombs in like a couple paragraphs every single day,
What's
except
the
for Sundays.
website? Oh, Great
Greatday.com.
Day. Okay.
Yep. And so I'll write what is inspiring about that passage in my journal. And then I'll read. I'll usually do 30 minutes of reading. Right now, I'm reading my good buddy Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets book. And I usually alternate between a couple books, business and spiritual and personal development. And I'm also reading the Undaunted Courage from Stephen Ambrose about the Lewis and Clark journey, which is awesome. And yeah, so after I do that, then I'll probably open my laptop. So eventually, it's probably time, and I'll usually create some copy first and foremost. While our brain is active, we have these peak cycles of creativity, and usually mine is in the morning. So I urge your audience to figure out when is best to be creative for them, and really focus on getting done your most important creative tasks during that peak window.
Now,
So I like to create.
is that biorhythms or is this something different?
It's a little different. There's actually a book called When that can help you find your peak hours. And yeah, it's an important distinction to make. When is best for you to
Mm-hmm.
work? When you are screwing the commute, when is best, especially at home when you control your own schedule. Sometimes if you're not disciplined, you can slack.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to focus on when is best for you. And, I like to use time blocking. So I'll set a timer on my phone, the Pomodoro technique, where you work 45 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 5 minute, break in between or whatnot. So you can kind of set your schedule up for success in that capacity. And then, once I create some copy, I'll usually create some content. Maybe, I have a podcast interview that day. Maybe I'll do a video for my tribe, the happy hustlers out there. Just kind of depends, what's on the docket for the day, and check in with my team. I have outsourced VAs from the Philippines, and each of them has a role. So I'll make sure through Slack that we're getting things accomplished. And then usually I'll end up at the hot springs. I live right near a thermal natural hot springs,
Oh,
and it has a gym there. So what I do is I alternate cold and hot thermogenesis. So I'll heat my body up to sometimes 170 plus degrees, and then I'll go into 48 degree or 38 degree, depending on where they keep it at that day, a cold tub. So I'll do a couple rounds of that, really helping with vascular dilation and blood flow circulation, and it burns calories, it decreases inflammation. I mean, if you're familiar with Wim Hof at all, it's just super beneficial for just optimizing performance and longevity. So I highly recommend your audience getting cold and getting hot every day if possible. Actually, there's a really good company called Therasage that they have this really awesome infrared sauna. So people who don't have a hot springs, maybe they're like, how can I get hot? Well, they have this portable and affordable sauna. They actually sponsor my podcast. So code HAPPY could save you on a sauna if you're interested. They're pretty awesome. So I do that, and get my workout in and some type of martial arts training. Then I'll get back to the workflow. Maybe I got a consult or a meeting, and then I'll usually, obviously for food, I got to eat sometimes. So I usually fast. I decrease my fasting or I decrease my feeding window to 8 hours. So I usually
Hmm.
fast in the mornings and then eat only, between 12 and 8 p.m. And it's usually all natural, organic, healthy, good foods, nothing processed, no crap sodas or any microwavable garbage usually. And then at nighttime, yeah, I like to wind down, but with reading or maybe a informative educational documentary. I believe in the 90 minutes of personal growth, so I usually listen to 30 minutes of something inspiring in the afternoon, like the Screw the Commute podcast.
Yeah, that's
uh,
exactly the best thing to listen
yeah.
to.
Yeah, right. That's the best. I love
Uh,
Tom. That guy rocks. And then I read 30 minutes and then I watch something inspirational or educational 30 minutes. So that's usually a part of my day. And then, I put on my blue light blocking glasses. Maybe sometimes I'll take some melatonin and, I'll do my wind down, my mantras before bed. I'll meditate and, express my gratitude. And sometimes I pray and yeah, just that's usually some of the elements of my day.
wow. So I wrote this all down. I got a lot of work to do. So I saw.
Well, let me know, Tom. We can go through your routine and I'll help you out, man.
Well, I got three things here that I got going here. So, but the one of them you'll like, oh man, that's pitiful. So I have a super heavy duty rebounder because I
Hmm.
got a normal one and I would jump on it and it would just stay down because I'm too fat. And then I do have an infrared sauna. I've had that for a long time. I actually have
Awesome.
both a steam sauna and an infrared in the house. So
Boom.
that's handy. And then I do intermittent fasting from noon to 8 is my eating window. So I got a couple of them here, but it looks like I got a long way to go here. So
Yeah, man.
I got to look
Well,
up some of these things. Pomodoro thing, and what was it? Wim Hof? What is that?
yeah, Wim Hof. It's
How do you
a
spell
breath
that?
work. Well, WIMHOF. If you guys, we had him on our podcast, the Biohacking Secrets podcast back in the day, and
Mm-hmm.
and man, this guy's a beast. He's got 26 Guinness World Records.
Jeez.
He is from the Netherlands, is absolute legend, and he just hyperoxygenates using these breathwork tactics, and so highly recommend your audience dig into breath work because you can actually release so many endorphins and dopamine and DMT from just your own supply. You can get high on your own supply, people.
Hey,
Serious.
that's probably a good book title right there.
Yeah,
So,
it's amazing.
but all of
You
this
got to
stuff
try
is
breath
great for
work.
your business too. I mean, because
Oh
the more
yeah.
clear you're thinking, the less toxic your body is. Although I have a very, I also wrote professional comedy for 6 years. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I had a company called Prank Masters. We custom designed practical jokes. This after I got out of the bikers trying to kill me in the nightclub. I thought, I'm going to do something that's fun for me and fun for everybody else. So we did
Yeah.
4,000 of these custom designed things, and I wrote professional comedy the whole time. But
That is awesome.
I forget why I even mentioned that. But I need some brain things to remember short-term stuff.
Well, there's a lot out there that can help your audience too, increase those brain synapses and just help you perform at your finest, with verbal recall and memory and all sorts of different nootropics and supplements. And I'm not one to, to overstack the deck. I believe in the holistic approach and natural remedies. However, there's a lot out there that we could talk about later on too that, could just help people operate at their finest potential.
Yeah, I said something on we have a meeting twice a week with all the employees, and I said, yeah, I'm going to get some of that ginkgo balboa. And they, they just all started laughing like, what? That's not what it's called. I guess I still don't know what it's called exactly. It's not Balboa though.
Yeah, biloba.
Biloba. See?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm 65 going on 12, so I'm all into a continuous improvement. That's for sure. That's
There
the
you
old
go, man.
Kaizen technique. So, man, it's been so great crossing paths with you. You just dumped a massive amount of good things for all our entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs here. All these tips and working on yourself. Like I said, business will come along if you are at your peak performance. You have all kinds of opportunities you can take care of. You won't be too tired to do it, and your brain will see things that it wouldn't have if it's clear. So thanks a lot, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, Tom, thank you. It's been my honor to connect with you and your awesome audience. And, I just highly recommend everyone out there listening, first and foremost, put the happy back in your hustle, because if you're hustling and not happy, what the heck are you doing?
There you go.
It's not worth it. And, just keep listening to Tom and podcasts like this and continuously improving yourself. That's how you get better every day. And here's another one. If you don't quit, you'll never lose. So just keep on keeping on, guys. You'll do it. You will succeed.
Beautiful, beautiful. So here's a little recap, folks. I want you to subscribe to the Happy Hustle podcast. They can find it, I'm sure, through thehappyhustle.com, right?
You can find it at caryjack.com, which is my middle name, by the way. I know you asked stage name or not.
Oh, okay.
Middle name.
Okay, so caryjack.com with CARYJack.com, where you can get the free ebook. You can get that $11 course, which is highly underpriced, and learn all about Cary, and get subscribed to his podcast too, because I want you to be entrepreneurs, but nothing will last if you're not happy about it. So that's how I've lasted all these 44 years now in formal business, long before the internet was around and before Cary was born, that's for sure. So, so thanks a lot, man. And we will catch everybody on the next episode. See you later.